Welcome to Art Chats con la Mitotera. I'm your host, Mel Dominguez. Today, we have a special guest. Her name is Alex Jimenez. You can find her here on Instagram at ABC del Sur. If you're from Tucson or you've been around Tucson, you may have seen her work. If you've driven anywhere around town, like Hotel McCoy, or if you popped into a local tiendita on North 4th Avenue called Popcycle, or if you've ever attended any one of the mercaditos down in South Tucson at Galeria Mitotera or at Cultivate. So we're looking forward to really chit-chatting with Alex today. She's a wonderful artist and graphic designer. Awesome to just bring her aboard because we're going to have a nice chit-chat for those of you who haven't met her in person yet. Hey, Alex.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for making time for us.
Yeah, thanks for doing this.
Absolutely. Can you tell the audience where you're from?
I'm a Tucsonense. I'm from Tucson, 4 generations on my mom's side. So yeah, I'm from the desert fully.
That's cool. When did you start getting into art?
I got into art. It's funny. I think it started with photography in high school. It was just a hobby. And then when I went to college for animal sciences, I kept up with photography on the side and just found so much more enjoyment in being creative and coming up with, little shooting projects to do. I worked in the darkroom there as a monitor. And then, but after I got my science degree, I decided I didn't want to do science anymore. So I came back to Tucson and then just got odd jobs for a couple years and traveled, and then decided to go enroll at the U of A for illustration. Well, actually, no, I enrolled for graphic design, and then I had no idea that the field of illustration existed until I took an illustration class, and then I was like, oh my God, I can draw any style I want and, maybe make a living this way. And so then I pursued illustration, and then, so that was in 2000, probably 14 maybe, that I went back to school, 2013, and then I graduated in 2019 with my second degree in with the BFA.
Wow.
And yeah.
It's really cool. It sounds crazy though, thinking about time that way. You're out 2013. I'm like, oh my God.
I know. It's
yeah. So if you were to describe your art, how would you describe it to the audience?
How do you describe my art? I think that my art is heavily influenced by nature and by family, by Tucson, by place. So a lot of my projects are really place-based. I like to make site-specific work. So like with my murals, I always think about the wall, the shapes of the walls, like what's around it, what makes sense for like how you're viewing it. And then with like my larger projects that I've done that have to deal with like place, I think about people and communities. And the community where I'm from is from the south side of Tucson. And so a lot of my early work revolved around the south side. And so, now lately it's kind of more broader, a little bit more desert themed. Part of that's just a product of having to sell stuff. And so I've had to kind of shift what I'm making to try to like make a living.
You know what? I've been asking artists, but I think that you apply here too. Do you have a map where we can all like walk or bicycle to your murals and to your artwork?
Oh, I don't have a literal map, but I love maps. I should make a map. I only have 4 public murals now. One's in Sahuarita at their middle school. It's called Desert Ridge. Apparently, Google keeps redirecting people to different places, so I wouldn't try to go find it on your own in Sahuarita. And I just finished that one 2 weeks ago. And then I just did one in January at the Ward 1 Council offices, which are open to the public. And those are off of Grande and I'm blanking on the cross street, but it's like 2 blocks north of West Congress. And then I have one at Hotel McCoy. They let people walk onto their property to look at their murals because they've got quite a collection of artist murals. Mine is this huge one that you drive through with all these saguaros. And then I have one more that I did in collaboration with Johanna Martinez, and that's over at the Oasis Raspados on South 12th Avenue.
But because we're talking about the mural that you just created with Johanna, that was actually how I first learned of you, and it goes back to a previous project where you did a book on typography. Am I right?
Yeah, so I started off my career by applying for an artist research and development grant through the Arizona Commission on the Arts right after I graduated with my BFA from the U of A. And I had this project I'd done my senior year where I went out and shot photographs of all the hand-painted signs in the south side of Tucson. And then I made an alphabet book. But my book was different in that I made it geographic. So when you flip through it, it went north to south. So it was about moving through the south side, collecting letters of the alphabet on different streets, South 6 and South 12th. And so I did that project, and then I like really fleshed it out after I got the research and development grant, because I had a prototype book for my graduation. That was part of my senior project. And then the grant just really helped me to work more on it. And then in my grant, I pitched making more screen prints. So I made screen prints that spell out TUCSON, Tucson, and then AZ. But each print, because I just learned how to screen print, they took me so long that everyone has asked me if I'm ever going to finish, and no, I probably will never print the entire alphabet. It's just like each one took me like 3 weeks. I'm just a really slow printmaker. Printmaking is my main medium that I enjoy producing work in, and I'm just really slow, and I'm like make a lot of errors, so I end up losing like 20% of my run every time I print. So it's painful, but I love it. I love the process. So anyhow, I did that project, yeah. And then the mural was like, I had done all these interviews for the project, and I was gonna make more of an adult coffee table book that was about the history of small business in the south side of Tucson. But my sister, it didn't work. She was supposed to be the author, and it didn't work out timing wise. She ended up having a baby, and so I had all this interview stuff. So I applied for another grant in 2017, and I asked Johanna Martinez, who I knew how to do murals, if she would help me. And so together with my content, we created the mural, and it was really collaborative. And then her amazing skills helped me to complete it, because she did parts that I couldn't have done on my own. Stylistically, it's really different than my other work, because she had abilities that I just don't have when it comes to painting. So with her, we got that done, and it's a talking mural. So like you can scan it, and it links to my website where you can actually listen to some of the audio clips that are telling some of the stories that are visually represented on this mural. So that sort of like site-specific, story-based community work is what I really enjoy doing. I haven't done anything similar to that since that project.
And that was with Southwest Folk Alliance.
Yeah,
right?
they helped fund a little bit of it, and then so I got funding from the Arts Foundation for that mural through their New Works grant, and then I got a little bit of funding for materials from Southwest Folk Life Alliance, and then they helped kind of organize an end of like pachanga when it got finished. So yeah, it was a couple different people who helped me out with that.
Because it really tied everything together, the community, the culture of art and food, because it's at a Raspado place, right?
Yeah, it is.
What's the name of the place?
It's Oasis Raspados. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They have 2 locations, one on the west side and then one on the south side. And so I worked with, her name's Julie, and so Julie was so one of the owners. She just let me use their wall. They had like a peeling mural that had been on there for ages, and so we had to like blast off this old mural in order to like make a clean slate to put anything up on the brick. But no one's tagged it, and it's been 3 years, I think.
Yeah, no, that's great. And that's a lot of what people don't think about if they come from other places and they've been artists other places. If you actually come to Tucson and try to do some work, you're faced with the task of learning where the sun hits that mural. You know, so it's a big deal. And the fact that it still looks really sharp, and it gets a lot of people moving that way to go and take an interest, right?
Yeah, people always are tagging me because they go on a little trip to go see it. And I don't know how many people interact with it. I hope people do, but not everyone has like the code scanners, because you have to like download an app to do those. But you could still go to my website and check everything out without even going to my mural. So.
But it's cool because that's the interactive part of it.
Yeah.
So I love all of that. Everything that was in the mural, I like it because it's a new thing. You know, it's what young people are using right now. Oh, what's the name of your website?
Oh, it's alexclamation.com. It's hard to spell.
Right.
AL!exclamation.com. So my name plus exclamation squished together, because if you see me sign my work, it's always Alex exclamation mark.
That's good. No, that's cool. We want people to find you because
Yeah.
there's so much work that you've created. And that's the other thing. When did you so you were doing murals and illustrations and you've worked for different organizations. When did you decide to take it and become a vendor at at markets? When did you take that jump?
Oh yeah, when did that happen? Oh, it happened because when I graduated, I had this whole project. I worked on it. I got some screen prints done. I had a show up in Phoenix with the screen prints, and then I didn't have a book, and I wanted to have a book. And so then I decided I had all the materials to create a kid's book that was an alphabet book. And because it was for kids, I had to put it in a way that like was learning and fun and made sense. So I ended up doing it alphabetical instead of geographical. So the original concept was a geographic alphabet, but then I had to change my concept to, you do something with all this beautiful letter forms that I had collected. And so I made the kids book. And then I wanted to sell it, and then I heard about Cultivate markets, and so they invited me, I think, to sell. And so I had already made my book, or I applied, I don't remember. Anyways, I had the book and some screen prints, so that's what I started selling, was just my screen prints and then my book. And my book, I did it so that you can find the alphabet. So like these are some of the images. And so I did it in Spanish and English, and it asks you to find the letters of the alphabet in the photo. And so when you play with kids, it's really, is it backwards for everyone, or is that just me?
Yeah, it's backwards right now, but it's okay.
That's so weird. Why is it backwards? Anyways, you on one side, it asks you to find the letter, and then you can point to there's the G, and then when you flip, it shows the letter pulled out. And I did a reprint just last year with a brand new cover. And then in my intro of the book, I list all the changes in businesses, because a lot has happened in Tucson in 5 years since I first made the book. And almost a third have changed, and some of them are completely gone. And then some are gone because the owners decided they didn't want that anymore, and so they just painted over it. And some are gone because the businesses themselves went out of business.
Yeah, so that's why artists and the projects that they create are very important, because you went out and actually interviewed people and you spent time learning about who painted the actual signage and stuff. So that's huge. I actually I walked into the library over on South 6 across from the John Valenzuela Youth Center, and I saw some of your work there in their new children's area.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I don't know. So my works, people gift it a lot, so I get a lot of people who are like, "Oh, I got your book from someone." So yeah, I don't know. The library bought copies of my alphabet book, so it's available for checkout if you don't want to purchase. So
see, that's huge, because a lot of people, they get to see what's going on in town, and to really see if there's young people out there, or even whomever, our peers, that you're a woman business doing your thing,
Yeah,
and a mom.
yeah, definitely not easy. Yes, now I'm a mom. I wasn't a mom before, so I had a lot more ability to do a lot more.
I know how you do it. How you making it happen? How you making it work between being a mom and now doing the artist quarantine thing?
Yeah, it's been I feel like when he was first born, I felt really creative. So I was like sketching a lot because I was up at weird hours, and I tend to be I used to be at least the most creative from like 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. And that's when like my best ideas flow, and my best illustrations come out. And I'm just kind of, your logical brain turns off because you're tired, and then you're sort of more free flowing. part of your brain lets loose. And so, because I was sleeping weird hours with the newborn, I was sketching a lot, and man, I came up with so many projects and ideas and things I wanted to like explore. And then now that he's mobile, it's a lot harder because I can't, he knows he can move. So if I try to make him stationary, he gets really mad. So it's really hard. Luckily, my aunt runs a daycare, and she takes him for me whenever I need to work, because I just can't work. He wants whatever I'm holding or have, and he can crawl and stand up on my legs. So if I like have him near me and I'm trying to do something on the counter, he'll just come and bug me. So it's like, it's way harder now. And then his naps is when I get some work done. But I just decided it's best to compartmentalize that. I think the idea of productivity during quarantine is really stressful. And I was like getting down on myself because I wasn't being productive on the days that I was with him. And it's just like, why even try to fight the balance? Just have days where he goes to daycare, and those are the days that I only do work and I don't do any house stuff, like no dishes, no like, doing his laundry, like none of that. I'll do all of that when I'm home with him. And so I'll have my housework days, and then I'll have my art days. And so doing that has been much less stressful, because then I feel like free to just be at home and be with him when I'm home. And then when he's at daycare, I'm doing my own thing, running, getting supplies or out painting, like I was a couple weeks ago. So that's kind of like how I've achieved some balance. It's hard. I have a home studio, and then I have another studio too.
Oh, that's awesome. Except for it gets on my side, it gets crazy because I have too much stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
But you were just speaking on the project you were working on. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh yeah, I just Southern Arizona Arts and Culture Alliance. They just funded. They worked with the city of Sahuarita to do a bunch of murals. Sahuarita's like 30 minutes south of Tucson, but only 20 minutes from me. So I applied, and I got in to do one, and I did a huge electrical box. So it was like a cube, well, not a cube, a rectangle box. It's like 7.5 feet high and 12 feet long. So it's on like this little hill, and there's a soccer field below. And so I decided to do a Gila monster themed box because the patterns of Gilas are so interesting. And then they kind of look like the Rorschach ink blot tests. And so one side, I decided to do 2 Gilas that were mirrored with their patterns mirrored, and just as if you were an ink blot test where you smush it and then you open it up and see what you can see. And so I did that, and then the other side is like a big portrait of a Gila with like the sun behind him. You can see it on my Instagram page, the finished. There's oh no, I don't. Anyways, some of the images are on there. I don't think I've put them all up yet. But yeah, that was a really long project. So I just finished that one last week.
Then I'm glad you did do that, because there's so many electric boxes that I see that there's some awful, like some just really awful tagging on there, or it's peeling, so to have artwork that's actually on there, I think that's nice, because to me, it feels more like an eyesore. You know what I mean? Like with all this desert landscape, to have like a metal box, creating heat. So the fact that you did art on that, I'm like, that's dope. But you've created art for a lot of people. You actually did a print for the mariachi conference.
Yeah, I did. I did a print for them. That was a lot of fun. They hadn't ever had a printmaker or illustrator do stuff for them before. They mainly hire painters. So that was an interesting collaboration. I liked the piece that I did. But yeah, I get a lot of private work just through word of mouth, which is kind of like, it's just like a miracle. I'm always like amazed how projects leap onto each other, and like I'm always like have no idea how I'm gonna make money from one month to the next. And so I just trust.
Well, you got a whole nother market by doing that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, when you're an artist, you really have to do whatever you can and say yes to whatever. That's how I started doing murals more often, and I was like, because I did my first one with Johanna, and she really guided the whole thing, because I'm not a painter by any means. I mean, I really don't consider myself a painter. I'm just an artist who can do whatever my client needs. And so if my client happens to need painting, I can figure it out if it's within my like scheme of like ability. Like I'm not a realist. I don't do 3D well, and my illustration tends to be more 2D looking. And so I always tell anyone who hires me, I can't do portraits because I'm just like, it's just like not my thing. So if you're looking for it, like, I mean, it's just advice for anyone. If you're ever working with an artist, make sure you're working with someone whose style you enjoy and that you know that they could achieve what you want. Because I get so many requests and people want things that I'm like, that doesn't look like anything I've ever made or is even in my vein or stylistically. So are you sure you want me to create something with you? Because it's not going to look like that. And I try not to limit myself because I still am learning new things every day, but I still have a style. Every artist kind of has styles. You have your own way of marking the pen on the paper that's you, that you can't help no matter what.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you tell me about jobs. I'm like, the only thing I have not done is I've never dressed up as a clown. That's about the only job I've ever done. I'm not doing that. Like, I'll do everything else, but I ain't doing that shit. But
Yeah.
where's the best place for people to buy your art?
You can just go to my website, alexclamation.com. It's in my Instagram bio as well. And I have a link to my shop from there. It's my own little freestanding shop. But some stores in Tucson carry some of my like basic products, like my bandanas and handkerchiefs, and like Popsicle sells a lot of my stuff. Petroglyph sells my prints as well as my my textile goods. Why I Love Where I Live carries my book. So a bunch of little stores carry some of my stuff.
That's really sweet. So if someone is actually bicycling or walking around town, they're gonna run into your artwork.
Yeah, people run into my stuff all over.
No, that's great. Well, I wanted to ask you something else. Not only you're like you doing all this other stuff, but you actually you write grants too, right?
Yeah, I try to go after at least one funding thing a year. I think it's a good practice to push myself. I mean, I took a break last year because I was pregnant, and then this year, and just kind of like figuring out what I want to do, like what sort of avenue I want to pursue again in art. And so, but yeah, there's funding out there, and if you have a good idea, you know, it's just go for it. And so I've always tried to push myself, and I'm fortunate in that I feel really comfortable verbally in the written form. And so I had a lot of experience writing in college for my first degree. And so I've never been scared to approach it. And so because of that, I've been lucky to have gotten quite a few grants over the years from the different Arizona organizations. And I've written some, and I haven't gotten some too, but even just writing one is still a practice, you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've always thought about it, and I'm still thinking about it right now. But would there be any chance that you would open up like something to actually help other artists do
Oh yeah,
grant writing?
people who are friends with me on Facebook will always see that when I have an opportunity I know about, I'll extend it to people and encourage them to ask me to edit it for them. And I've had one or two friends have me edit their research or their grants applications, and I enjoy doing it. It's actually really fun, and I want other people to succeed. So I try to let people I know, you know about opportunities and offer my support, because like I'm always down to help someone write a grant if they're interested in getting a project funded, because sometimes you can't pursue what you want unless someone's going to pay for it, because you know that's life. We have to there's the hustle of just trying to make money. And so as an artist, you know, we can't pursue those passion projects unless we have the resources sometimes.
Mm-hmm. So how do you feel about the new change in the grants applications where they're accepting videos now?
Oh my God, it's so weird. I was just on a panel for the Arts Foundation of Southern Arizona, and it was all video applications, and it's weird. I mean, on one hand, I think it makes it a little more accessible because you could do it on your phone. But when Arizona Commission on the Arts had me do an application for them to test out their system, and I did a video application for them. And so doing the video application, I thought was harder than just writing it, because like
Yeah.
I said, I'm comfortable writing. And so I found from other artist friends who have done both, if you're comfortable writing, you're not going to be that into the video. But then
Yeah.
there's a lot of video artists who are like, sweet. so like, you know, it's super easy if you're familiar with video to just apply now. I don't know. I think it has its pros and cons. I'm not sure. I mean, it's a little more accessible, but then again, if you're scared of video and editing in any way, because you kind of do have to do a little bit of editing. I mean, at least like, you know, trying to get it all out and then converting the file or whatever, then you might be scared to do it too. I don't know. I think it has its pros and cons. I don't know.
Yeah, you can ask Melissa. We tried like 100 video takes. We're like, take again. Like, I messed up. I stuttered, or I almost burped on this one. You know, so, but I know what it feels like because I received the research and development grant through the video application, and then most recently for doing the interviews now. So I mean, but it works for artists, and you're right. I feel the same way. That's why I wanted to conduct all these videos, was because I saw a lot of my artist friends that were super talented, but they were like intimidated by whichever process. Like you said, some are better writers and some are better on video. But we want to help folks because we're like, how do you sustain a community?
Yeah, you help each other up, you know, especially when you have access to resources. And I've been on a lot of panels now. I think I've judged 4 or 5 different types of grants through the 2 different main arts organizations here in Arizona. And so I have a lot of behind the scenes understanding of what goes into those panels and what we're looking for when we're reading applications. And so, you know, I'd love it. I tell people that, and I'm always down to share and to use that insight, like to assess your own project idea. But yeah, it's interesting. I love being on panels. It's so great to hear other people's perspectives of what they are thinking when they hear a project. Cause like, you know, we all have our own inherent biases. Like, you know, I'm a visual artist, right? So video and performing art, I don't quite understand as much. It's not my medium, but it's really interesting to hear other artists and applications talk about their craft in a way that I would never get to experience unless, you know, I was on those panels.
Yeah, no, I think being on a panel is like for the enthusiasts as well, like because you get the inside backstory of how they do their thing. So it's cool for me. But you're also Nalaquera.
Yeah. So another application I just decided to go for. I was like, I knew about NALAC. I was like a fangirl because what they're doing is amazing. And they're like, you know, the only specifically Latino arts organization, and they like are moving mountains. Well, they were a lot more during the Obama administration because the main, their president of NALAC, I think she's the president, Maria, she was on the Arts Foundation board, I think, for Obama. His whatever. I'm sorry, lacking language here. But anyways, she was on the inside of federal funding for arts and was able to get stuff done for NALAC. But I learned a lot. I mean, it was just really interesting to engage with on the national level with other Latino artists and arts administrators. I met people who are gallery managers or who are curators, and so just to like commingle, and then all being Latinx was just like really, really amazing. And I've made connections through there still that have allowed me to show work in California. I was in a show 2 years ago in San Francisco, and so that was amazing at Galeria de la Raza, a really famous gallery up there. So that was like really exciting. And I think that I knew about it to apply because I applied to the exhibition. Another thing I applied for, I applied to whatever you can. That's like my good advice to any artist. Like I keep my eye out on calls for art, and you just put your work out there. And that's how I've been in shows in other states. It's just by putting my work out there and hoping, you know, that someone sees something that they resonate with. And so anyways, NALAC really gave me a lot of confidence in that realm. So I did the Leadership Institute.
Well, yeah, just the whole arts administrative. I'm like, what? Like, there's an arts administrators. Where? But guess what? That's who my partner is. She's my arts administrator. So she's the one who. She's also an alaquera. So
Yeah,
it,
yeah, it's interesting because, like, I mean, most artists were our own contained everything, marketing. I mean, most small businesses are, but you don't think of artists as being a small business sometimes because, but you do, you have to be somewhat organized if you want to, keep sustaining yourself in some fashion. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot administering your own business and all of that. Like, man, I spent hours just replying to emails or just like applying for opportunities to make art for someone or like just coming up with a bid for someone trying to get the job. And it's like all this other stuff before you can actually do your artwork. And I miss school because in art school, I just got to create,
no, absolutely. I wanted to ask you, what's your favorite project out of all of these? If there is a favorite.
I think one of my favorite pieces of art has been my food desert series. And so I'm a printmaker, and I did a letterpress series exploring sort of the concept of food deserts. And so like, I actually have some of my prints here.
Oh, very cool. That's cool.
It's a tiny little Taco Bell. That's one of them. But I did a triptych. My first triptych had 7-Eleven, because 7-Eleven, even though it's not in Tucson maybe the highest number, globally 7-Eleven, there's a lot of them, especially in Asia, because I did a lot of traveling in Southeast Asia. 7-Elevens are everywhere over there. And so like I was exploring the idea of like these ubiquitous landmarks and kind of how they're, no matter where you are, you can find them. They'll be glowing. And so that's one of my favorite projects. Mainly visually, I really like the result. But my Abecedario del Sur project with the alphabet, that's definitely the dearest one to my heart because it has to do with my the south side of Tucson. And I still, enjoy looking at the remaining buildings with their signs and reflecting on the stories that I got to hear from people I talked to. So
I know that part about being an artist and a researcher, where you actually go and you talk to people and you got that interview. That's the most that I miss right now during the quarantine, is that interaction. What are you missing right now?
Right now, in quarantine, yeah, I'm missing going out with my son. Like he would go with me everywhere. So like if I went to go drop off product to a wholesaler, one of the stores, he'd come with me. I miss that part of just like living life together without any fears or concerns, just going about my business. But yeah, I mean, I'm fairly isolated as an artist in the first place because I work from home. And so quarantine hasn't felt completely different. But yeah, I miss the selling to people directly. That's kind of how I not only how I earn a living, but also it's how I kind of grow people who support me.
Yeah. Man, I thought I'm over here like a fat kid status. I thought you were gonna say I miss the tachos from Pinches or the fried pickles from Drunken Monkey or Drunken Chicken. I don't know what they call them. So
no, I don't eat out. I cook a lot. I'm a really good cook. So I find that cooking for myself is what I mainly do. Yeah. I before, like I said, I was kind of isolated anyways because I'd had the baby in August almost a year ago. And so for 3 months, I basically stayed home with him because I didn't take him out. And then, and then there was market season. So yeah, it's just been an interesting year anyways for me of being at home a lot, with my son. So quarantine hasn't felt that odd, except for the not being able to go like out with him.
But you know what? Do you have it? I mean, you gave a lot of advice. Do you have any other advice or like last advice for the audience out there who's wanting to be an artist, working and making themselves known?
Yeah, totally. I think one of the biggest things I learned going to art school is I had this conception of what an artist was before I went to art school. I was like, well, I'm going to do graphic design because that's functional. Graphic design is needed, you know, and you just do whatever someone tells you to do. And I didn't think that I could ever go into that. I was ever going to become a fine artist. That art being in galleries, that wasn't really my plan. But what I learned in the illustration program was that, like, you can be shitty at drawing portraits, but what you are good at will appeal to someone. And so people are just not going to like your work, but some people are really going to resonate with it. And you don't know who will like what you're doing. And so if what you're doing feels good to you, like, keep doing it. And eventually you're going to find someone who enjoys how you, you know, make your marks with your pen or how you color your stuff. And like, that was really huge, because in illustration we saw, they made sure to show us, like, just the range of illustrators out there. Like, there's people who are on the cover of the New Yorker whose style is pen, like, simple line drawings of stick figures. Like, there's people whose work looks like a 6-year-old made it, but it's interesting and it's visually stimulating to people. And so they get hired to do private commissions all the time, and they make livings as professional illustrators. And so when I realized that, like, I didn't have to be a master of any style that I admired, I could just be my own thing and be my own style, I accepted, like, where I was at and decided to just keep growing with what I knew I could do, and learn more, obviously, but still develop what it was that my voice is. And so, like, I would have never thought that I was going to be an artist. I was going to be a scientist my entire life. I was going to be a veterinarian. It's from 6 years old all the way through probably 20. I was going to be a veterinarian. And then I just decided it wasn't for me anymore. And I didn't know that there was this whole world. So yeah, just don't be afraid is the big thing. And, like, have confidence in who you are individually, because you're going to grow if you keep doing the same sort of techniques. You're just going to keep getting better and better. And if you like something, just go for it. And if you're wanting to put your work out there, just go for it. Fear really stops people. And I just decided, like, for myself, that I can't be afraid. And I had a really powerful mother, and she was unafraid. She went to college to get her degree in her 40s. And so she was at the U of A getting her bachelor's, a mother of kids who were in college. And she got her bachelor's when I think I graduated high school, and she got her master's when I got my bachelor's. And so, like, you know, she just really taught me to be unafraid. And I've really approached my career that way, just, like, not afraid to take an opportunity, not afraid to put my work out there. And it doesn't mean I don't feel insecure or, like, feel like I can't do things or that I'm not good at stuff. I feel those all the time, but it's like overcoming it and just being like, you know, I might feel that way, but I'm still going to try. Because, you know what, at the end of the day, I still have my own sense of value in the work that I do. And when you sell stuff and people want to buy it, it's great feedback, and it feels good. But I've been at markets where people don't buy my stuff. So, like, you know, you feel like crap for a day, and then you're just like, well, my client base wasn't there, and you move on. And you have those real lows. I have those all year long. I have them every day. But you just kind of, like, I just learned to roll with it. And it's easier said than done, but you know, yeah.
It's nice to hear, because some folks sometimes think that they're the only ones feeling that way. So you voicing that right now is huge, because they, you know, you're successful. You're doing it. You're making it happen. So for those that they feel like they're alone, they're not, and they just need to know what you just said. So you just solidified that they need to keep doing what they feel is right for them to do. So
Yeah.
that's it, man.
Totally.
That's it, man. But thank you so much, Alex, for spending time with me and letting the audience know what you're all about and how to find you. You're at ABC del Sur on Instagram, and Alex Exclamation Point.
AlexClamation.com. AlexClamation.
We're gonna be uploading this to YouTube, so it'll be minute out there.
Great.
Really nice for everybody to find you. But thank you so much again. Say hello to your family for me.
Thank you.
And we gotta talk again soon.
Yes. Thank you so much for doing this.
Absolutely. Have fun.
See ya.